Okay, good morning and happy Friday, everyone. This is Taylor. Today is Friday, April 21st, so happy post 420. Hopefully, we are all in the right frame of mind to attack the markets here today. But we'll do a little bit of squeeze work here before the open. And first, a quick look at the futures. A little bit quiet. So S&P's pretty much flat, and the NQ here is down about a third. Now, here's been the theme. Not to say it happens again today, of course, but they take it lower at the open, they come down and punch support, and then you get the huge rip. Big break of support, huge rip. So we'll see if they got a little bit of the same in store here for today. But I am seeing a couple of potential issues on the QQQ. So these dark blue bars here, what that tells me is momentum starting to shift a little bit in the favor of the bears. Now, it doesn't make the QQQ a short. All that kind of implies is the easy part of the move could be done and over with. And then as far as the futures go, the most noteworthy squeezes here are on the 4-hour charts. So for the NQ, now mind you, we've seen this movie before, but in my experience, most times a squeeze like this, where the 8 is under the 21, you got a sell signal, you got bearish momentum, usually that squeeze looks to fire short. Though that has been a little bit tough as we're chopping back and forth here in the box. And then on the S&P futures, you've got the same 4-hour squeeze. So based on the structure, based on the pretty colors, I'd usually look for those to fire short. But she's been a wild one. But alright guys, so as far as a few squeezes here, pull up the Big 3 squeeze radar. And we're not going to go through every time frame. On the weekly chart, I think the most notable thing here would be the weekly squeeze and the weekly buy signal in the Dow. And then Boeing is kind of interesting too. So quick look at the weekly chart on Boeing. Now mind you, earnings I think is next week. Yeah, next week. So I'm not going to plan to do anything with this until after earnings. But what I am seeing here is you got the weekly squeeze, you're printing the weekly buy signal. And you're right under a pretty massive level of resistance, falling weekly 200 SMA. So usually one of two things could happen from here. Option A is we fail at that 200 and roll over, or option B, which could be a pretty powerful combo. Squeeze fires long, they rip it above that 200, and that should open up a door for a pretty good push. So we'll come back to Boeing here after earnings. But as far as this morning, the biggest things I'm seeing here are on the 2-hour charts and the 1-hour. So on the 2-hour chart, you have the squeeze and the sell signal on QQQ, and NDX, and gold. So I'm a bit more focused here on the QQQ in the NDX. And then over here on the 1-hour chart, you have the QQQ again, and you have the SPX and the XLK. So heading into today's session, a couple of bear squeezes here on the lower time frames for the S&Ps and the Qs. So we'll pull up the 2-hour chart here for the QQQ. And what I find really helpful about doing this kind of work before the open is your 30-minute, 15-minute, 1-hour, 2-hour squeezes. If they fire shortly after the open, usually that can set the tone of the day. So being that the squeeze is leaning a little bearish here, definitely something to keep an eye on. So let's see, for the 2-hour, right, you got a fresh sell signal, a fresh negative cross of the 8 EMA under the 21 EMA, and you'll also notice down here on the momentum, you've been under that zero line for going on a few weeks here. All right, so there's a divergence. Trying to push it higher, at least on the 2-hour time frame. Momentum has not been supportive of that pop. So that is a problem, and the only thing you got here that maybe tries to hold it up is your 2-hour trailing stop. And then, of course, if you crank it down to the 1-hour chart, and this is your nested squeeze. So you have your 2-hour squeeze, and then inside of that squeeze, you're squeezing on the 1-hour. And this leans a little bearish as well. 8 under the 21, negative shift of the trailing stop, and a 1 hour sell signal. So there's the cues. The SPX here, all right, you get the same thing on the 1 hour chart. 1 hour sell arrow, negative moving average cross, negative momentum. So here's an example where since Wednesday, momentum hasn't been supportive of the push higher. And that's where you get that dark blue bar. All right, there's your heads up that if anything, momentum has to shift there before you can get a nice pop. So they try to push it higher, momentum never crosses back above that zero line. So watch out for those divergences. But as far as the open here, guys, all right, futures again are a little bit quiet. But as far as the cash products go under the surface, got a couple lower time frame squeezes printing those lower time frame sell signals. So what I'm going to look for here this morning is once the cash market opens, we'll watch, maybe something like a 5-minute chart, and we'll see if this can hold structure. All right, so get some context from a bigger time frame. And the context today is, at least on the cash product, you've got that 2 hour squeeze and you got that 1 hour squeeze. So what I'm going to look for this morning when the cash market opens is we'll watch, something like a 5-minute chart. And if that begins to break down, pretty decent indication there's a better chance the 1 hour and the 2 hour squeezes want to fire short. If instead your 5-minute, your 3-minute, eventually the 15-minute, if they can all hold structure and print some buy signals, then it potentially bodes well for, the avoidance of those other squeezes firing short. So that is the focus for today, my friends. Hope you find the video helpful, and for those of you in the options room, I will see you at the open. Adios.